So I've done a little building. So we'll be heading that way shortly to see what the other things. So to start with, we've got a new building, and a new part of the thing law I've actually started is the Bibles, the words of the Holy Empress of Pink. So Pink is her name. She's a god fox god empress, who, in the word of the people, is the Holy Empress, or the Goddess Emperor, and all those situations, none will use her name in the word. So we have here the Bible. Pray to the Goddess Emperor Pink, and let her holy soul guide our visions and lead you to the path of glory. And remember to not forgive those who are unwilling and part of heresy, and give them the mercy of the Goddess Emperor herself. Let us pray the Goddess Emperor will smite the unwilling and pulverize those who are ridden with heresy. Let us pray to the Goddess Emperor, and let her mercy be at our will, as she spares our lives to defeat the unholy and those filled with heresy. So I've written that up, and that's her words. If you can kind of get this world's theme from that alone, yes, I've merged reality, 40k, loads of universes into one. And this kingdom in itself is to show of like classism, because classism is massive here. There's a lot of bad things this place does. So here's the upper class, business, lower, and they're barred in. So this is the church. Every place, fortress, will have one of these holy sites where the book itself is, and these books will be here, written to the people who come every week. It's mandatory, you don't get a choice. If you're so if we go to any of these churches, so people will go to that church in the business area at a certain time. People would line up outside and wait to go in. This is the main church, so it's Temple of the Unknown, do not enter. This is the holy site that only people of the upper class or of very high value, very high religious value, very high power value, and have respect value from the unknown church. This is actually where they keep part of their soul. Part of her soul is in here. So like book, but this will be one part of her soul down here, or he's the person who knows about it, so it'll be kept very deep underground in this church. The next part of her soul is in that. Then another part is in the space station, and there's another part underground somewhere. So yeah, her soul has been split. Her soul was one, let's say, a block of atoms. Her soul was then split into 400 pieces, spread across the empire. Then they split those pieces. Now there's thousands of pieces of her soul across all emperors, the empire's lands. And because we're in space, yeah, there's so much to her heart and soul. So this is one of her religious sites, which now has those books. And that one, I've added in the book. We'll talk about that in a sec. So we've got the kingdom here, which is not owned by it, but this flag here does not represent a country, a nation. No. It represents the emperor herself. This is her flag. The pink is her, the white is her power. It's that type of thing of her might. So whenever a kingdom has that flag, they're not under this kingdom, they're not owned by this kingdom, they are with that religion. And once they're part of a religion, they're part of the empire. We don't have views in all just follow her views. We have groups that are against us but still follow her views. That's the point. We're not one combined army. Under this nation here, this little outpost on by another nation actually follow our religion. That's why they live here. They're allowed to live here because they follow our religion and our views. Then we've got here, which is a small settlement outside the kingdom. There's going to be a lot of these around soon. Just little fortresses, like one there, just ones everywhere to defend this place. And there's there, and they have their holy sign. And then I've got to go in there. Everywhere here has a holy sign. So, to summarise, there's one there, there's one here, which is the main one, which no one enters, there's one up there, there's one over there, there'll be one in there. Every part of this place is very religious. Unless you're a slave or otherwise, you will not have her mercy. We are at her mercy to defend our nation. These people are not at her mercy. That's what let's go through. I think I'll put like these on her the ships as well later. But, oh, I need to pick up the book again. But you get the point. Every nation in this place has to follow the religion. The reason they follow the religion is, like in Warhammer, let's say, she's an empress and she's a goddess. You don't see her as that, you're dead. She never saw herself as that. She saw herself as a goddess, a light of spirit and power. She never actually said she was a god. But because people worship her, because she brought all this power, money, wealth and military strength to the nation, that she became the symbol of her country. Where did I put that book now? There it is. And so once you're that powerful and you show that much of a nation that you're like, we will worship this, then people worship it. Everywhere here will have some sort of religious part. So I think I'm going to put one of these on the ships, but you get the point. There'll be these on the ships, the boats, the cranes, the trains. Every part of them, that system will have some sort of holy site. So like this one's going to holy site. Okay. And this one's going to have a holy site. The small boats won't need it because they don't go abroad. This one have its holy book. That one's not ours, it's another nation. But you get the point. Go on these big ships abroad and you're still saying her emperor's will to let's travel. So they'll probably have a second Bible about the ocean. Because this is the general Bible for everyone who lives in this nation. And there'll be the things, I write them up later because it's a bloody nightmare on PS4 to do this. Don't get me wrong, I would. It's going to be a pain. So this is the bar. I think this area would have a Bible. So like here, so it's red devil as they eat. Because that would make sense. This is a dining hall for the fleet ship. So if you can tell by the tables I've mentioned this before, all that is the crew, this is the captain and the higher ups. And they will always be separate. So you'll be spoken. All the religious signs are everywhere on this ship. Just to show you they're part of that religion, the captain's room is full of it and got its naval map. It's also got a giant one here to show it off. There's a giant holy sign by the water, so anyone comes near is blessed by the holy sign. They want all our big signs towards the nations, the ways aren't. So up that way is not as holy as here. So we treat them as unholy. And it's bandits country out there. Even though we own, technically the Empire owns that land, it's still banded. Yeah. You know, you get the point. It's just not a safe place. So our Empire would do this. Would slowly but surely build fortresses. And then fortresses are there. and the fortress over there. So literally you'd walk from one fortress really safely to another fortress in range of archery. So literally one fortress could shoot the other fortress. So like the fortress is literally in sight, so it's like over there, so they can shoot at it. And then there'll be another fortress. But the problem with this world's holiness is, you notice there's no monsters in that, no. Like no, well we basically pulverise them. Massive armies. Like if you imagine this place populated, if I could actually do that without Minecraft killing me, this place would be filled. Those roads would be full of people. It would be a literal marching band everywhere. If you get that point. Packed. The street would look like this. If this was people, you'd be like trying to work your way around people. If you get the point, it's going to be packed. But thank God Minecraft doesn't do that, because that would be very, very laggy. But like, this place would be packed, but it looks really sad and empty. But if it was the real world, it would be very busy. Like this area here is massive farming industry, with all different storing sheds. Literally have names for everything on them. See, every one of these is labelled for certain items. Now these are the kingdoms level series for religion, but they are owned by the religious people. So technically there's a couple kingdoms here. There's one here, the big kingdom, the city, which still hasn't been built up enough, and I haven't had time for that. Just in that building alone there's like 1,000 people, let's say, or 400 people. That's about how many beds are in there. It's about 400 people in that building. This whole area soon has plans for like buildings like that. So there's going to be about a good 10,000 people in here. Over here about a good 5,000. You get the point about 60 to 70,000 people in this area. This area is going to have about 400 people, I think, in total. And then that place is going to have about 20 to 30. Big differences. Then the local hired units, like hundreds of hired units around here. Local labour forces that get sent to towers who overwatch the areas. And we've got the rebuilt towns. Which we're supposed to have water supplies. And then you've got holy sites. So the reason for all these fortresses around here is you've got to think, in a very hostile world, the more fortresses you have, look in view of each other, the more defence there is. This is the main airbase in this world. Very small jets come in here, land off people, and that's the plan. I'm going to build this eventually. I haven't had a chance yet, but that's the space pad. There's the helipads. There's going to be some more helipads behind. And then you can see this ginormous wall. Absolutely huge wall. And you'd be like, it's just a massive wall, isn't it? Nothing else, just massive wall. And yes, it is. The wall is to protect the city. Then the inner part of the city here itself has its own wall, so no one can get in. And then that part of the city has a wall around it, technically defending itself from anything else. And then the parts are split up by a wall. So the very poor end split on a wall which keeps them in, so they can't climb out. The military base of theirs in a corner, so it's safe. There's a river of fresh water going through it at all times, with barriers underneath blocking any person. So you really get the point. Then here we've got an unfinished project, is the death camp. Because all the heretics and unholy, where do you think they'll go? Now the reason there are other empires that come here and seek our wisdom is because they don't disbelieve in So like the Adeptus Mechanicus, but unlike them, they make tech, and in that world they make all the tanks for the humans, and they're very useful. In this world, a lot of human races exist, and are against each other. But unlike the Adeptus Mechanicus, where they make stuff for us, this lot do believe in holy sites, the Holy Empress herself. But they can't build stuff themselves. So instead of Adeptus Mechanicus going to the humans, giving the humans robots, the robots ask if the humans build them stuff. If you see it in the way of Adeptus Mechanicus, in the kind of lore built some. So basically, they see the world and they go, this nation here is so advanced. Just look at this nation here. They're so advanced, and we're still wooden ships. So they asked for modern ships. We went, no. But we can build you versions of this very quickly. And so this is what we invented them. Wind gliders, which make them speed quicker. We gave them 4 centuries behind us weapons. So they've got artillery. They've got things more advanced than some nations in this planet. There is an entire nation in this planet that has ships like this. No cannons, just bows and flames and molotovs. But in the sense of they've made very shit weapons, and that's all they've got. And half the nations look like this. Not even line. Half the nations where the Empire's enemies live are on little islands like this. Well, these are little islands, but quite big one, but little in our sense. Little islands where there'll be like some dugouts, some tents, and some basic living. And that's who we're fighting. No one advanced, no one with enough will to turn against the Empire. Nothing. As we have such advanced technology in this world. Like this poor artillery, you'd be like, oh, why is there not much artillery and defence? Because we've got spaceships that can blast anything that comes near. I've talked about this before. We don't have defences because you don't need them. And when you don't need them, there's never a use. So let's get back to putting the book in. Go over the top. Where's the church? Move that. So everywhere in this world is very light, very rich, very powerful, and very happy. And you'd be surprised why they're happy. Because they're like the basic housing. This is what the humans live on. So if you're not a part of like government, military, or anything important, people in here don't go mixing with here. People in there never mix with here. People from the military come in here and come out. That's the only people coming in and out this way. This lot, only way out is in, out that way. And you'd be like, why do they live over there? Because you have to have a permit to live there. And they all mainly work in mine, so they have to come in this way now. And that's not even the amount of deaths. We have fake graves. In there they incinerate the graves and claim that they've grown in there. So you're getting the point. We are claiming there's more deaths than there are. And basically people live in shit housing. I mean, if you want to see, this is the most luxury I've got. This is the building. I'm going to keep a book like that here. This is the library. I can put this here until I get logs and stuff in. But this is the library of Her Majesty. Alright, oh. But this is the place of Her Majesty, right? You come in here, you get your pass, and you go into the city. If you get that pass, you only get in through. How does everyone get into here? Well, that's a good question, isn't it? As you notice, there's no exits in the back of here. How do you cross the border? Well, you don't. Anyone in here comes through the airport. They get transported in, transported out. Never leaving this border. Anyone here will go out here, work, and come back in. Only people who come in here actually get in here through another way. Wouldn't. What will happen is if there are a lot of naval officers coming in, a lot of armed guards coming this way. So basically, if you ever played like Half-Life and they like completely block off streets and make it terrifying, yeah, like that. Just so anyone comes this way, dead. So if they stay in your house, everyone does when they die. So they'll head into and they'll bug off. Now the people living here have a lot of history of rebellion, which got beaten out in the bloody mass suicide memorial, but it's called the Bloody Jungle War. This is the memorial, the Bloody Jungle. We don't call it the Bloody Jungle, we call it the mass suicide. But the Bloody Jungle was basically, this area here was owned by natives. A lot of natives were in this area, full of forestry, right? We killed them. Then we built all this land. This will be bigger eventually, guys, but it's just because I can't be past the build. This is housing. This is the food industry out here. The local foods station. You come in, get food, you go. These are tables. Sit at them, eat, you go. You only get a ration of food. So this place is the ration of food for everyone here will be kept up here. So these fridges here contain the food for everyone. They also have been helping supply revolutions. Try to, because there's a lot of people here poor enough and a lot of gangs here. You get the point. A lot of food. There might be some here. Point. Cooked food, coal, everything they need, and an entire kitchen of ovens. This will basically cook everyone's meal in this poor district. If you're from the poorest district, you're just above being a slave, and so yes, slavery exists in those kingdoms, not in here, but slavery does exist. We're heretic free because we killed slaves. Now, this is the housing for everyone who lives here. Bed. You don't get anything else. Everything you own will be rather in your job, and any luxuries you have, you leave at your job. And you'll probably get 2 hours a day to go into a local establishment, like this one here. This is a local establishment. Behind here. I hate that sound effect. Oh look, nothing's here. You just never be about them. Actually below it, below this pub is one of the many gangs in this area, or groups or mafias, whatever you want to call them. This is the Blues. Their religion is different. They don't believe in the Holy God Empress because they're never taught. So these chests would be full of weapons. They make chemical weapons, basically everything, and they would hide from the public because they don't want to be hunted down. So you get the point. And if you think, oh, that's the only one, no, that's quite. So let's go to another one. Over here. There's 2 in this area. There's 1 in here. It's known as a resting room. And this one is a local den for chemical weapons. Nothing more, nothing less. You'll tell how basic these bases are, and you're like, whoa, they're not well built. No, they're built on a whim. They have like, they will never upgrade them because they might have to ditch it. Then the next one is over here, in the arc. Now, this is what's weird. You'd be like, oh, the lower class, how can they get arc? Because they're allowed some. You know, they have the basics, drink, place to drink, and an arc. They get stuff like luxuries like that above slavery. Slavery, you get no luxuries. These guys get some. These guys get all. Well, these guys get a lot. These guys get all the luxuries, all of them, they get all of it. Those guys have their own problems and finance. Those guys have all the luxuries they want, but financially can't. So the other gangs are right here, next to that ladder. So art guy, one, through the painting, into on the other. Is the purples. You notice their housing is really simple. So like in Vietnam, let's think of that, where they built mud tunnels. Why? Because they knew eventually they'd have to ditch them, and because it costs too much to build something proper. Like this took a building crew. This house took a building crew. They had to dig for the house, dig by hand, and get wood without being caught and not being shot. So yeah, it's enough risk getting the wood to build a ladder. So they would try. Now, if you think justice system is was unfair, sure. So anyone down here, if they break a law, is a heretic and committed heresy. Anyone up here who commits heresy and unlaw, if you're rich enough, you go to a prison. And you just rot in the prison. If you're not rich enough, the reason you rot in the prison is they'll beat you to death, they don't care. They'll let you rot to death to teach you that you're doing it wrong, and you'll never get let out. And a lucky chance you do, no one's going to respect you, and you'll probably get killed anyway. These people here just get sent to the pit or the fire if they do something wrong. You'll notice this area is very brick, concrete, and proper materials. This is built off cheap materials, except from the port, because that's modern military. The only thing these people will see, which is very expensive, is where most of them actually go to work. So let's go explore this. This is going to be a bit of a long tour. So where do most of them work? Well, they don't work in the Navy, they work in the mines. This is a memorial for the massive loss. Yeah, 2,500 miners weren't missing. That tells you about the work there. But how come there's thousands in there if a lot of them died? Because we import more people. People need work. When we're like, as a free spot for work, they don't care what they have to do. Get the best life they can. They'll get more medical benefits in this world there is none. If you have something you don't have, they do it. Forgot to equipment, this will show you. So these are all the old storage zones which have been removed. All the stuff. And here's all the modern ones. Here's one to show you a mine house. There's 3 miners per chest. So if I say there's 3 miners per chest, that's how many's on. That's how many there was. They will have basic pickaxe, a safety helmet, a rope, a mapping tool, a lamp, water bottle, bucket for carrying items, a miner's stew, a compass. Then once they're all ready, they're going out to the mine. On the way up to the mine, they have a scanner to make sure if you do steal something, they'll take it up there and kill you because you've broken the law. So everything you get dumped in these holes, and if you want to know where these go, I'll show you that off. So if we go down the mine, go across. Let's go first of all. This one here is very important. So, a couple of things in this one. In the alt rail line and storage is guarded so no one comes in. In here, it's got all those holes in it too. That one use the most. Through this explosion mine tunnel, this is the map of where we are. Things are going 2 trains. Hit the button, you push the train goes. Where's the train go? I'll show you that in a second. The old mine out things was explode mine out are massive. And it's going to stop it. Look, mine and line. Get massive resources. Then hit the ocean, blocked. Then we go down a floor. This is not just mined. We built all these floors first. We mine out a massive amount. Look at this, massively mined out. Block all the walls of wood because we're saving money. The underwater miners would go mining underwater for items as well. So everything here is mined. Massive hallway of mine, and then the experienced miners will go down unexplored mine holes from original mines. Then undone mine, undug mine, the bottom floor. We've got one here, which we'll talk about in a minute. So we've got miles of mines. But you're like, this ain't big. Well, yes. The underground bit of the mine is this way. So if we go down,